KERMIT the 240, and yes, it has a name now, is a build we started almost 2 years ago, and finally we're wrapping it up. We made a lot of friends along the way, and I learned more about cars than I could ever imagine. Sometimes when building a car from the ground up, the journey to that desired result is sometimes a lot more fun than the car itself. So let's start off with an overview of 2 years of work. To start this build, we needed a good chassis, so I chose the S14 240SX. It's pretty light, and it's pretty well balanced as well. Also, it's a 90s Japanese car, so automatically it's cool as shit. And to me, it made more sense than a Fox body or Camaro, which is commonly done in the drag scene. This car is fairly clean on the inside. It only was plagued by a horrendous paint scheme, which is why I got the car for so cheap. It also was automatic, and since I was swapping the drivetrain, it really wasn't an issue. Now with the engine, I wanted something over 700 horsepower capabilities, which in the realm of Japanese motors gets really expensive. But since I'm in the good old US of A, we have the LS. I went with the Underdog, the 4.8 liter. This is a D-stroke 5.3. Makes around the same power, but usually revs higher. I wanted it to be able to take a lot of abuse, so at Higher Performance, we put all new bearings throughout, gapped the rings, put ARP head studs, and put a turbo cam so it could take advantage of the turbo we were gonna strap to it. The transmission we put behind it was a Turbo 400 made by FTI. It has a trans brake for launching the car and a 3800 stall converter. So yeah, no drifting with this car. Next, we stabbed the engine and trans combo into the car. I used a cheap LS swap engine mount kit for the swap. I didn't have high hopes for it, but it fit like a glove. Since the car originally came with the automatic, we really didn't need to bang out the trans tunnel for the Turbo 400, so that was a plus. Now, a 4.8 by itself isn't going to make a huge amount of power, but with the help of a turbo, it can really wake this engine up. So we went with a CX Racing S14 LS Turbo Hot Side Kit. So it comes with 2 headers, a cross pipe, collector with a T4 flange. The fit and finish was pretty good. If you have the budget, I always would recommend getting a custom one made because this kit really likes to fry plug wires. We put a mock-up turbo on it just so we could look cool, and I was planning on upgrading to a 76mm precision turbo in the future anyway. Next up was the fuel system. I really didn't want to skimp out here because I wanted to do it once and done. We went with a MagnaFuel Pro Tuner 750. It supports over 1,000 horsepower on E85, so definitely overkill for a 4.8 liter. You want to put a filter before and after the pump to protect the pump and injectors from contaminants. Speaking of injectors, I went with Bosch 1300cc injectors like I said before. We went pretty overboard with this setup. We ran Dash 8 PTFE fuel lines all the way around and Dash 6 return to the fuel cell. Also with a build like this, you want to run a boost reference fuel pressure regulator. It raises the fuel rail pressure in relation to the boost pressure, so you aren't working against the injectors and potentially blowing your shit up. Wrapping things up with the car, we had the intercooler piping done by a local fabricator. I really wanted the least amount of couplers as possible, so he made big one-piece piping on both sides of the intercooler, and it came out good. Bishimoto supplied the R-line intercooler and the radiator as well. The time-consuming part was doing the finish wiring, the grounds, the switch panel, cutting the fenders to fit the drag wheels, interior work, and all that was done at Mad Hatter Garage. So here we have it, KERMIT the 240SX. So yeah, this is what it's like to have a Turbo LS Shitbox. It's loud as hell. You got a big ass pump back there that's pumping up tons of fuel. You got a whole bunch of random lights. You don't have a dashboard, you just have a little gauge that tells you very, very minimalistic stuff. And then the golden. That's how you build a Turbo LS Shitbox. So definitely in the future, we're gonna have more content on this car. We're gonna put it on the dyno. We're gonna take it to the track. We're gonna race some people around town. There's a lot that's gonna really be coming up. So especially stay subscribed. We just broke the 30,000 subscribers. Shout out to everybody that has pretty much supported us from the beginning. I love you guys, and peace. This is Turbo's Garage.